Everyone, hey, real quick, we had a new starring guest today. So I'm home for the day in the home office here doing some work, and we are actually babysitting for the week for our niece. And this is her bearded dragon, Mr. Man. So everyone, say hi to Mr. Man. So he wanted out. He said he wanted to be part of this video. So I said, hey, you can absolutely be a co-star. So what I want to talk to you today about was an issue that recently came up with a client, and that is, when is the right time to expand your business? Now, of course, there are tons of different variables that go into that and to consider, but I want to talk about one particular item that I want to make sure that none of you make this one huge mistake. So I had a client that called me. This has been a while back, and actually a year or so ago, and he called me, and it was a Friday evening, and he said, hey, I want to talk to you about helping me out. And I said, okay, well, how can I help you? And he said, I don't think I can make payroll in 8 days. I said, okay. So time was of the essence. So I said, do you have time to meet tonight? Even though it was a Friday evening, and we met and talked through his story and what his problem was and what had happened. And what happened was he expanded too quickly. So he opened a pizza shop, and it was wildly successful. He had a line out the door 5 nights a week. And he continued. He thought, hey, man, this is going to be great. Mr. Man likes it. He said, man, this is great. So I want to expand. So he quickly opened another shop, which was about 35 miles away from his primary shop. And he put his number two in command. Now, his original location had been open about 90 days, between about 100 days, actually. He opened a second location. He put his second in command as head of that particular store. While that one, as soon as that one opened, actually it was the week before it opened, he opened a third location, which was about, I guess that one was about 40 miles from the primary location, the first location. Now the problem was, Mr. Man's not going to cooperate here. The problem was, and this is the number one problem, is he ran into problems because there were no people. He didn't have good people. So the second location did okay. Now, of course, he couldn't be in all 3 locations at once. So he needed to have people that were going to operate things the way he wanted them done and according to, his goals, etc. Now, the second location he opened was doing okay, not as well as it was expected, not as well as the first location had been doing. However, the third location was doing miserably, and it just wasn't working. And primarily, well, there's a good look at Mr. Man. Primarily, it was because he did not have the right people in place, and he could not find good people. So he had constant turnover. There's a good look at Mr. Man. Did you want to say hi to everyone, buddy? No? Okay. So people is a huge, huge issue. It doesn't matter how great your product is. It doesn't matter how great everything. You have to have the right people in place to be able to execute your plans, to be on the same page, rowing in the same direction as you are. And he learned that the hard way. So we ended up having to, I talked to his landlord at the third location because it was a no-win situation. So we ended up talking to his landlord, and we renegotiated a lease, and we subleased it, et cetera, et cetera. Long story, but we were able to help him get out of that third location. And then we worked on optimizing the second. He turned things around. Everything was fine. He did make payroll. So he stayed in business. Everything went well. However, it's a lesson, a cautionary lesson. All right, Mr. Man. It's a cautionary lesson. Whoa. Jeez Louise. Mr. Man he's feeling it today. Just maintain over here, buddy. So live video, everyone. Live video. Mr. Man is ready to leap into stardom, I guess. So it's huge cautionary tale. Make sure you don't make that mistake. The other thing is, on the flip side, I had another restaurant actually in town that opened over the course of 6 years, opened 5 locations. And what they kept doing was they were building people up through each location with the idea of they would continue to grow those people and develop them. And then when it's time to open a new location, they would take some homegrown people and put them into those new locations. That ended up being very successful and continued to be successful. However, we had to halt expansion because we didn't have the right people. We had run out of quality homegrown folks to be able to put into that next 6th location. So we had to halt things, let things simmer. Now we had 5 restaurants that were developing people. So we knew it was going to work, and we knew eventually we'd have people there. But let's just hold on there, buddy. So anyway, Mr. Man is getting a little anxious here, so I want to let you guys go. But here, I might go over here, buddy. But anyway, do not make that mistake. Critical mistake. You have to have the right people. People. Absolutely critical. If you're acquiring another business, more than likely you're acquiring it because there are issues, and so you're going to need to put some of your good people into those locations. Or if you're expanding locations, do not make that one huge mistake. Of course, if you want to learn more, go out to MrBizSolutions.com. You can find out what we do out there, different things about the business. But please consider this for expansion and growing your business. You have to have the right people in place. It is the number one reason you fail. Number one reason. All right, Mr. Man is getting restless here, so I'm going to go ahead and talk to him a little bit, straighten him out. And we'll talk again soon, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon.